o'clock, please join me for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you. All right, we'll get started with our meeting with item 2, the approval of the agenda.
Madam Chair, I would move to approve.
All right.
I will second.
Okay.
And you'll notice on our agenda and our page, there's an item 2 there. But because it's a special meeting, we can't make changes to the agenda, so that's why we're skipping over that on our paper. But it's on the official agenda is correct.
Madam Chairman, who did you give the second to?
Chase.
Okay, thank you.
Jimmy's gonna take care of that for us.
All right, any discussion on the agenda? All right, all those in favor of approving the agenda with additional bills, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? You guys have it. All right, any correspondence?
Just some invitations I gave out to everybody at the Glendale Preschool.
Yeah.
Graduation party.
And I think they had the kids glue the envelope shut. Very
Well,
cute,
they did
very
well.
cute. Yes, they did.
And I did send, I got one of those also, just to let you guys know, I did send them a message that that's the same night as our hoedown at West, so I will not be out there, I will be at the annual 4th grade hoedown. So, which if you haven't been to one,
Oh, no.
you
I thought it was in one. It's out of the
What if you were in one?
do you remember who you danced with?
No.
Oh,
All right, any visitor comments? I don't see any. Okay, all right, on to action items. There, no old business under A, we'll move to B for new business.
Madam Chair, I would move for the approval of the Wheatland High School football field restoration bid.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kapka.
I will second that.
Thank you, Mrs. Harrelson. Any discussion?
Let's talk a little bit about our bid opening today. So we did have 2 bids. After doing some reference checks, we're gonna go with the low bid. It's a local company, TC Landscaping, for $111,112.20 was their bid.
One more time.
111,112.20. Is that right, Jamie?
You got it.
All right.
Got those odd cents on there.
Yeah.
Well, they're even cents.
Yeah. It was nice that we're gonna go with a local
Yeah.
company,
It is nice.
see how they do, kind of moving forward, so. We're pretty happy to get this taken care of hopefully, so we can have a nice football field when football starts in the fall.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the information.
I can tell the second bid was about 10,000 higher than the low bid,
And where were they from?
Casper.
Any further questions or discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving the WHS football field restoration bid of TC Landscaping for $111,112.20, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. You guys have it. All right, item 2, the extra duty stipend.
I'll make a motion to approve the extra duty stipend for Wheatland High School Activity/Athletic Director for $13,500.
I'll second that.
All right, thank you. All right, discussion, questions?
So we are only approving the stipend amount and then it will go to application process, but I guess.
yeah, we can post it.
Yeah, so currently we don't have any amount listed in any of our extra
Right.
duties, so we have to approve what we feel is a salary that we can attract somebody to do this. And then all the extra duties are gonna be looked at, so it's probably gonna have kind of a progression like the other ones have, you know, like for experience, but since it's probably gonna be 1 year and we look at all of them, we just thought we'd stick that one amount. So as you guys approve it, we know how to advertise it, It'll be for next year, and then during the process, negotiations, we're looking at all of our extra duty contracts.
Will this be someone internally in the schools who do this, right?
I think we want someone internal.
That would be the preference.
Yeah.
And it would be for the whole year,
Yeah.
correct?
This is, when I was hired, they switched from, it used to be the assistant principal salary plus a stipend for the AD portion. When I was hired as the assistant principal activities director, they just lumped it all together. So it's been 10 years since we've had this sort of model. And a little bit longer because it used to be tied with Barb Scott. She was the last AD that was a teacher that had the duties, so.
No part.
And I can tell you how we came up with that, about 4,500's in the middle of the high school assistant coach schedule, right in the middle of assistant. And there's 3 separate seasons, so we just kind of added those together, just to kind of get us in the ballpark, because they're outside, I guess, supervision is gonna be similar to an assistant coach. We didn't think it was a head coach responsibility, but time-wise, it would be like an assistant for those 3 seasons. If we look at someone that might be coaching, we might make a recommendation that a third of that might go to someone else because they're coaching. So we just wanna make sure it's flexible, but it is within thirds.
Splitting
Makes
this up
sense?
works well, right?
What's that?
Splitting these up works well, right, amongst,
I think you always get to a point where it depends how big you are and how many activities and how many numbers of kids and all that stuff. When you get a little larger, the AD position sometimes stands alone.
Are you talking about high school split from middle school or the athletic director?
that's what they're talking about, right?
I don't know, I'm
AD.
asking you what your question was.
Well, the way I perceive it is that there'd be an AD for the middle school at the middle school, for the high school at the high school, and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
that's what
sorry,
I'm
my question was, is that what you were asking, is it generally separated, the
Well,
high
I just
school
wanna know
and
if it works well, cause like he said, 10 years ago they did it, and then Philo, how do you pronounce his name?
Philo.
Philo, thank you, is doing it, or did it just himself, right, for all the schools, correct?
Mhm.
For this last year, right?
I'm pretty excited about it being the middle school having its own.
Yeah, and I agree, I just wanna know if the process works well, having them split for the middle school doing middle school stuff and high school doing high school.
I had a recommendation to Robert to have their own AD to kind of work through some things. There's gonna be some communication, collaboration, but in general, I think it works better when you have someone there day-to-day can take care of some things.
I'm not arguing against it, I just want to know.
And I was just asking for the clarification, whether you meant like the schools having separate ADs or whether the athletic director was an administrator versus a teacher. I was just clarifying what you were asking.
Further discussion? Any other questions?
I guess I do have one more. Why the difference between the middle school one and the high school one, the difference in the amount?
Yeah, so that was the amount that was previously used, that was on kind of the books for extra duty about 3 years ago, I believe. So we just haven't had that, so bringing that back, and there's not the same time commitment, I believe, at the middle school level. The intensity's a lot more at the high school. They're gonna be doing all the scheduling and stuff at the high school. Middle school's a lot less, I guess, work.
Seasons are shorter.
Yeah, seasons are
Seasons are
shorter.
about 6 weeks in length compared to 10 to 12.
I think that'll be something we'll look at again after a year, but that was already on the books that we had someone that was a middle school AD previously, and that's the amount that I got.
So the high school will have the biggest load of work to do?
Yes.
Sounds good to me.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor to approve the extra duty stipend for WHS Activities Athletic Director at $13,500 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, no? Alright, item 3. The middle school Glendo Activity Director.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the extra duties stipend for WMS/window activities/athletic director, $4,000.
A second.
We'll take Sean, Mrs. Hoffman, thank you. All right, discussions, any further discussions on this?
Yep, I got one more that I missed on the last one, so I'll ask it here. So the athletic directors, either one, because I've asked this question previous, and the athletic director reported to the high school principal. So will each one of these report to the building principal? Okay.
Questions, comments, anyone? Okay. All right, all those in favor to approve the extra duty stipend for WMS Glendo Activities Athletic Director at $4,000, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, no. All right, on to item 4. With the Peak High School principal.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Peak High School Principal Extra Duty Stipend, Josh Sandlin, for $10,000.
I'd second that.
Thank you. Questions, comments?
I don't have any.
Thank you.
I think it's kinda cool that Josh started this Peak High School and now you get to come back to it.
Is that a smile of sadness?
I think it's cool.
Do you feel like you have time?
So as far as like the teacher evaluation portion, the way we're gonna staff it, we're only adding one that I haven't previously evaluated, so that, I'm not worried about that part. It's gonna take a little bit more time management. I already talked to Lawanda, I'm like, when I tell you that I need to be out in the classrooms for 2 hours, unless it's an emergency, that's where I'm gonna be. So some of that type of stuff I'll need to be very intentional. Some of the stuff that we've started with Peak High School this year that we wanna put in place, that'll take some time just getting going, whether it's whether it's Edgenuity or Schools PLP, whether it's the grant, whether it's the discovery program. So just getting that all into place, I think it'll be fine. Once it's going, I think we'll go. And then just trying to make sure kids have what they need and the options that they have, and some of the stuff that we're gonna be doing with the ride through the governor's office, I think it'll all fit together.
And Josh is adding a secretary, so we'll have 2, so he did a lot of duties like counting money and some things that he had to do, so that'll be taken off his plate, which will free up quite a bit, don't you
Yeah,
think,
so I
Josh?
won't have to do as much.
Further discussion? All those in favor to approve Peak High School Principal Extra Duty Stipend to Josh Sandlin for $10,000, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, no? Thank you. Item 5, Glendo School Principal Extra Duty Stipend.
Madam Chair, I would move to approve Glendo Schools Principal Extra Duty Stipend, Tom Waring, $5,000.
Thank
I'll
you.
second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Questions?
What do you think, Tom?
Your turn.
Whatever you guys see fit.
I knew it.
That's what he was gonna say. I do
Awesome.
appreciate your email
Yeah.
with the thought process, that was helpful. Alright, any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving the Glendo School Principal Extra Duty Stipend for Tom Waring at $5,000, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, no? The ayes have it. Alright, item 6, approve the Glendo Head Teacher Extra Duty Stipend at $500.
I'll make a motion to approve Glendo head teacher extra duty stipend at $500.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion?
We can talk about that a little bit if you want to, so
Yeah, I would
sometimes
like
you
that.
have principals who share buildings, you usually have some kind of lead person that they can help with the day-to-day, or if a decision needs to be made, sometimes your secretary does a little bit of that. But a lot of times it's, you have a lead or a head teacher. And when we met with the Glendo PTO, they mentioned that. I think previously we didn't have somebody there, if the principal's not on site, they need to have somebody to kind of make a decision or to take care of some of the minor things that might be going on. Because they're there on site, so pretty typical of other buildings that split principals, so.
And you're only doing it for Glendo because the majority of the time we'll be in at West.
Okay, and this one doesn't have anybody attached to it yet.
We don't have that position, that's why we
Okay.
put it in front of you, so we need to
Okay,
approve it
just
first,
wanted
then
to
we'll open it up.
clarify that.
Tom can make that decision,
I was thinking about going out Friday anyway, so.
good timing.
Alright, any further discussion? Alright, all those in favor of approving the Glendo head teacher extra duty stipend at $500, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Alright, according to item C, D, and E, it has our next work session following right now for a little while, then May 13th and May 20th is our next board meeting. At that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair, I would make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I will second that.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Meeting adjourned.